Hey Sam, hey Skoda. Hey Premier, yeah, I'm good. How are you? How was your weekend? Peter Marshall in the YouTube, welcome along, buddy. James Hart, you don't look familiar, mate. How you doing? Thanks for stopping by. Reese, how you doing, buddy? Yeah, I remember you, man. I assume you're from Wales, Reese. Philly Linux, how you doing? You seem new. You been around long? New people in the chat. Nice. I've got YouTube and TikTok running simultaneously, guys, so if you're not seeing the questions, they're coming from the other side. Skoda, how you doing? I've got your video and ebook. Appreciate that. I really appreciate that, man. Thank you. Yeah, working hard on the book and on the video. The book is basically going to become the script for the video course, which means I should be able to deliver both at the same time, which is good. Reese, born there, left when I was 4, been in Essex ever since. Oh, fair enough. My fiance's from Essex originally, like literally born there, so she was there a few years, but yeah. Philly, yeah, but quiet on your Discord. You've been in the Discord, or you've been quiet, or you think the Discord's quiet? I thought it was doing alright recently. It's okay to be a lurker though, if that's what you meant. WJPS, do you have to consider pipeline security as much as a DevOps engineer? Do you have to consider pipeline security much as a DevOps engineer? In what respect? So yes, you have to consider security from the standpoint of, so we run Jenkins in my current place, and you have to be careful around what permissions you give Jenkins, right? Because the CI/CD pipelines need to do an awful lot by default, right? They need to be able to build infrastructure, they need to be able to tear down resources, and stuff like that. So yes, there are considerations for security in that respect, so not giving too much kind of blanket permissions. So I've walked into companies where you've just got like wildcard permissions, which means like you set up an IAM role with just an asterisk against all the services and an asterisk against all the actions, and it can just do anything. And I get it, but what you really want to do is have like a set of, ideally a role per pipeline, and so it can only do that specific thing. That way, if anything was compromised for any reason, it would be very limited in what it could do. So yeah, there is a bit of security in that respect. Do you use Azure DevOps for your pipelines? Use a really long number. No, I don't. I started to look at it in my first job, but I only use AWS now, and I've only been using AWS. Like I've solely been using AWS for the last 3.5 years. So no, I'm aware of what it is. They're all the same really, but I haven't really got much experience with it. Premier, got the video and book. He just means he pre-ordered it, buddy. Nobody's got the video or the book yet. It's all pre-order still. Peanut Pillager, any advice for how to conduct yourself generally as a junior dev? Yeah, I think I did a video on this kind of thing. A lot of being a junior and your progression up the ranks is going to come down to soft skills, right? So whilst it can be intimidating to be a junior, you do really want to step outside of your comfort zone and contribute to stuff. And it's okay to be wrong. Like, just have some opinions and back that up with some kind of logic, and don't be afraid to put it out there. You'll get chance once you're a junior, assuming you're working in an agile, which you should be if there's a DevOps team. You'll get to do like retros at the end of each sprint, or at least at the end of each PI, where you get to talk about what went well, what didn't, and that is a really good opportunity for everyone to have a voice, because you might be almost overlooked sometimes if you don't have good seniors and mentors around. They might overlook your opinion, which is poor practice, but some of the agile Ceremonies give you the opportunity to actually put your ideas forward. So you just got to try and be vocal. It is difficult, right? You're new and you think, oh my god, my opinion must be wrong because I'm not as experienced as these guys. But honestly, if like the amount of times I've sat there thinking I don't think that's right, and then a senior or even a mid-level has been speaking, or someone more senior than me anyway, and I've thought I don't think that's right, and I haven't said anything, and 5 minutes later someone else pulls them up on it, and that is a really good opportunity. Like obviously I've missed that opportunity then, but that would be a good opportunity to get in and say, look, this is what I think, and to make your mark. And like, and even if you're wrong and they talk you down a bit, that's fine. You can learn from that as well. Hopefully that answers, buddy. What we got? Thanks for the advice. No worries, man. No worries. What are your thoughts on Kubernetes? Worth getting into? Not long ago, I left a role because they weren't using Kubernetes. I was there for 18 months. They promised me a project where we were going to migrate to microservices and Kubernetes, and I was desperate to use it, and now I haven't used it. I didn't use it for the whole of that job, and I don't use it in my current job. We use ECS. I think, like this is a blanket statement, of course. I've only worked for a handful of companies. I don't think it's as important as it used to be. It was the absolute creme de la creme not long ago, literally just a few years ago, and everybody was all over it. And I think now people are not interested in managing it all and getting involved. So like we use ECS, which is the Elastic Container Service. So it's Kubernetes under the hood, right, or Docker under the hood at least, and you just don't need to worry about all of the other stuff. So yeah, go down that route, but if you're not even in the industry yet, don't make that a prerequisite. It's not on my roadmap. I wouldn't recommend learning it before you get your first job, because a lot of places don't use it. Conduct yourself. What would you say about the Google Cloud certification exam? Is it necessary? Skoda, unless you're at a company that already uses Google Cloud, steer well clear. I was in Toby. Oh, Toby's actually here. Evening, Toby. I was in his live earlier, and I dug up some stats quickly. Like, it's 10% market share, and it's just not worth it. AWS was 33, and I think Azure was 22. So just go with the two big guys. Focus there. You don't need certs to get a job, despite what people say. It's like a false thing that you do a certification and you get some sort of validation because you've got a piece of paper that says you know this skill, but the exams are multiple choice, and there is no way in hell that you can prove that you know something well enough without actually doing it. Like, you don't have to write any code to pass these exams. They're all multiple choice. All that does is say that you can read something or watch some videos and retain the information to bring it back. It doesn't say that you can write this code, so I don't place any value on certs whatsoever. That being said, I did have two, they've now expired because I didn't know any better at the time. And I'd never used Terraform before, so I went through the training, and my company offered to pay for the cert, so I just did it. But that expired in January this year, and I have no intention of renewing it at all. Toby, I once was in a team that did a 3-hour retro over 2. That's awful. I don't even really run the retros in DevOps, to be honest. Like, we're fairly in charge of our own destiny at my place. I get a tiny bit of feedback from my guys before I have to do like a bigger retro as a value stream lead, but no, I just don't run them. They take up a lot of time. I'm pretty nervous to start. I'm unsure how much is going to be expected of me as a junior dev. If you've got, like, you won't have been employed as a junior unless they are confident that they've got, or you shouldn't have been, unless they're confident that they've got seniors there that can guide you. Like, the whole purpose of being a junior is you don't know everything. It's just, like, try not to be too nervous. Like, go in there, you know what you know. You've already passed probably several interviews. You've probably done some sort of test or whatever. They've grilled you. You've got through. They like who you are. And a lot of tech is about being is the people skills. Like I run into a lot of devs and stuff that don't have the best personal skills in terms of communication. They're incredible engineers, and those people I don't think get the same opportunities that people that are really outspoken, good team player, that sort of stuff. So you've obviously got something, so you've got to focus on that. What you have been given, you've been given the role based on what they already know about you. Boxer looking trim, mate. The walks a play. I appreciate it, man. I'm about a stone down in the last few months. Thanks. Not that you will have noticed because I've only been online for a few months, but I appreciate that. Philly Linux. Mark, is your book out yet? No, it's still pre-orders, man. Sold a decent amount. I think we're about 40, 50 pre-orders are good. Videos also doing well. The videos are actually moving up the price tier now because I only did 10 for each price tier. The book I did 100 because obviously books are cheaper. But no, it's not ready. Pre-order. I'm working on it. I may release it when it's not a 50% done. I may release it when it's 30% done, just so people can get their hands on it, because I appreciate that people have pre-ordered very early. Reese has just answered that for me. Watch your video on how you use up your monthly salary. If you're only left with 1.5k, is it worth it? Yeah, I'm only left with 1.5k, but I'm running the entire house for that. My fiance works as well, but basically covers the childcare, or spending money for herself, really. Runs her car and all of that stuff. So yeah, 1.5k. Don't forget, I put what, 875 I think it is in my pension, so that's on track to be like £1 million at 60, like on a conservative effort, like a conservative estimate. £1,500 left over is, people would fall over themselves. Like, you've got to think, people live paycheck to paycheck. I know we don't really say that here, but payday to payday. I think if I said that I was disappointed with 1.5 grand a month left over, I think I would be have lost touch with reality ever so slightly. It's worth it for me. That's 18 grand a year to do whatever I want with. It's quite a lot of money, buddy. Peanut, yeah, there were going to be seniors to guide us and some training. Honestly, mate, they will, if they're good seniors, they will bring you up to speed, and they'll be very, very patient. Just make sure to take lots of notes and try not to repeat questions, because the seniors are there to help, right, but they don't want to babysit you if they've already told you the answer and that sort of stuff. Omid, any recommendations for hands-on projects for DevOps? Something small over the weekend? Yeah, something small over the weekend is a Lambda, buddy. So I've got, let me just bring up my Discord. I won't share it, but I've got some things in my Discord around project ideas. So you could create an out-of-hours shutdown service, and you will use that in your job. So write a Lambda that looks for ECS, not ECS, or EC2, for instance, with a certain tag. So it could have a tag of test environment or a tag of staging environment, and get those to close down. And then, so you could set them on a timer, basically. So the if you write it in Python, the Lambda will find any of those, loop through them and shut them down, which will then save costs over the weekend. And then you just need to have another timer on a Monday morning that brings them up, ready for the test environment. So that's something I've done in a role before. So if you get that and you put it on your GitHub, that's something you can implement if the company don't already do it. I've got another one which is like checking for API keys on the individual IAM accounts. So your user account, you can set up API keys so you can interact with AWS CLI. You can check the validity or how old they are using a Lambda. So you can just find everyone's key. If it's over 60 days, deactivate it, and then use like Amazon's SES service, which is the simple email service, to ping an email to that user and say, look, this API key has been deactivated. You now need to create a new one. There are two that you could do over a weekend, one each. Like if you're unfamiliar with stuff, that will probably take you a weekend. There's also a Slack bot in Python, which is useful. I've written Slack bots and MS Teams bots that are both being used in several companies. Anything like that. And the Slack bot's really cool as well, because you can just test it locally. Peanut, thanks again. You're welcome, buddy. That's what I'm here for. Hello. Recently got a monitoring tools analyst role that uses many DevOps tools. Cool. What sort of tools are you using? Monitoring wise, I've used Datadog. We use Datadog and Sentry at my current place. I've used New Relic when we use Kubernetes. That seemed to be really good for container stuff. Datadog seems to be the top dog though. Pardon the pun. We used App Dynamics as well, and that was bloody awful. Boxer, I noticed, mate. I'm trying to walk into Boxer. I really appreciate it, man. Really do appreciate that. Thank you. Skoda, at what point would a junior DevOps be given on-call responsibilities? I wouldn't be surprised if you never are, because there's just no need, right? Basically, what an on-call person needs to be able to do is log on, like take the call, obviously look at it, assess it, triage it quickly, see if anything needs to happen, and then you need to be in a position to resolve it. The only reason you would be on call is to just go and wake someone else up. Like, you'll end up triaging it, waking up someone else to fix it for you, which is a complete waste of everyone's time, and the company's money, right? They're having to pay you to be on call, and then they'll be having to pay the senior or whoever you're calling out as well. So companies I've worked at 2 companies where there was juniors involved, and they never got put on the on-call rota. In fact, this company I'm at now is the first time I've ever been on the on-call rota, because I just couldn't be asked with it before, but I didn't have a choice at this company. Using Zabbix, SolarWinds, and New Start. SolarWinds is like Pingdom and stuff, right? I think we've got a license for that. Our monitoring's so spread out. I think we used to be like a different company or multiple companies, and so it's all just like come together, and we haven't really centralised that yet. Reese, anyone recommend any Linux beginner courses for free? Udemy one was £60 and wasn't available in plan. Reese, Reese, the guy that I recommended the course for, I found him on YouTube. I'll tell you what, Reese, drop me a DM. I won't do it now. Drop me a DM on Discord, and I will click onto the Udemy page, and I'll figure out what the guy's name is, because I follow him on Linux. In fact, no, it's going to annoy me if I don't do it now. Linux Dave? Oh, I can't remember. Linux Dave. I can't remember his name. What is his name? Tutorial Linux. There you go. I'm pretty sure that's the same guy. I am going to copy that into the chat now. Where are we? Right, it's going into the TikTok chat now, Reese. There's a link there, buddy. That is the same guy that runs one of the courses I recommend. 875 in your pension is mad. I'm putting $100. Yeah, see, this is my point, Reese. So 875 is a ridiculous amount of money to put in your pension. Obviously, my company put some in as well. I was late starting, so I'm trying to catch up, but like I am anal about tracking finances and stuff. So I've got like every year what I should be putting in roughly as a percentage based on salary and salary growth every year from like 2 or 3 years ago to 2050, something like that, or 2045 or something, when I'll be like 60, 50. 55, I don't know what age I'll be then, and yeah, I've got like percentages, what I should put it up to and stuff like that, and how my salary should grow, and I'm tracking above it all at the moment, but I've done like very conservative estimates on growth, like 2%, 4%, 6%, whereas most people model it on like 5%, 7% and 9%. So even like that low level on my current rate, like by the time I'm 55, there should be like £1 million in there, and I'll just hopefully retire, take 25% pay off any mortgage I've got left over, and job done. So yeah, I had people on that particular video being like, you need to put more in your pension and stuff, and it's like, I can't retire or get hold of that money any earlier than 55. So having the money in the bank now to overpay mortgage and all of that stuff, save, got a wedding to pay for, and then put money into like investments and ISAs and stuff, so I can access it whenever I want. Like, people just are not entirely clued up on finances when they're giving advice, unfortunately. Took Toby, some people only earn that in a month. Yes, exactly, mate, exactly. I think given the opportunity, you can do 2 jobs in the comfort of your home. Yeah, Philly Linux. Someone pointed me in the direction of Overemployed UK on Reddit, and I know it's easy in America, right? Because they file their own taxes, but in the UK, it's not quite that straightforward. Like, I've got a limited company, and I set myself up as an employee once because I was going to pay myself, not using dividends. And I got this weird tax code through, right? So, which means your second employer would get a weird tax code through, and they'd be forever asking you what the hell's going on. Like, you're paying loads too much in tax, and I just don't think you'd get away with it for very long in the UK. Now, if you're contracting, that's a different story altogether, because if you're contracting inside IR35 or even outside, you will probably be invoicing the companies, so you could probably swing it then. But then even you've got to consider references. Like, what if like the stand-ups clash? You can't just roll into a company and be like, oh, I can't do stand-up at this time. It's just not worth it. Just try and get a better paid job, I think. Sorry, mate, didn't mean to offend you. Oh, no offence, buddy, no offence at all. I was just trying to explain like how I do it, why I do it, and stuff like that. I could put loads more in and save it. Like, I'm now at a point where I want the bigger take home, but I'm getting hit by the tax trap, like over 100k. It's a bit silly. RAV4, CloudWatch Eventbridge. If you're talking about the Lambdas, yes, that's what you'll be doing to trigger them. That was my first task assigned to me when switching to AWS job. Auto shut down with Lambda. Yeah, like, it's just fairly straightforward, isn't it, Toby? You can give that to a junior and be like, go and figure it out. And even if it takes them a week to figure it out, they'll have done it on their own and they're not hurting anyone. And that is the sort of thing you'll get asked to do. So if you can display that up front that you can do it, shows a bit of initiative. Yeah, some of the first tickets I've got given were just basic things like that. Even checking like snapshot dates and deleting them. In fact, I think you can do that in the UI anyway. But there was some sort of thing about running stuff, and it was just a couple of basic lambdas. But that API key one was the one I actually did as a senior, funnily enough. Key rotation. Yeah, I mean, that's basically what I was talking about. We'll check out with Discord as well. Yeah, so on my TikTok, I don't even know if you can see the screen because there's probably text covering it. It doesn't show me, but my link tree is Mark in the Cloud, and there's a direct link to my Discord there. Some people complain it doesn't work, but it works for a lot of the people because I'm getting people join us all day, every day. So I'm not entirely sure, but let me know if it doesn't work. Haven't been working for the last few years, so I would justify that CV for a new DevOps job. Boxer, were you a stay-at-home dad? I seem to remember this conversation. That's fine. In the same way that mothers do all the time, right? You took time out to look after your kids, if that's the reason. I feel like we've had that conversation before. If it's not, and it's like, it could be any issue, like mental health issues, that you can't be discriminated against, right? So you could just say, I would just say I took some time out to look after family or something. It's really none of their business, to be honest. Is it normal in the industry to find a cloud project manager change into DevOps role? I don't really see project managers doing that, because all you need to do to be a project manager is know the tech lingo and understand it. Like, you're not close to even being able to do the job, but you will be ahead of somebody that doesn't know the industry at all, right? So there's no reason why you couldn't. Like, you can go from anything to anything, right? Like, with enough determination, with the exception of rocket scientists and shit like that. But yeah, if you're already in the tech space and you understand cloud and stuff, then yeah, you'll have a head start in terms of understanding what things are. But you, from a technical perspective, you'll probably be no further forward than most. What do you think of data engineering? I don't have an opinion on data engineering, to be honest. I don't fully understand what it is. Is it all like Python, machine learning stuff? In that case, I really don't have much of a thought on it at all. Reese followed. Reese, how have you bought all my stuff and not been following me? Contractor at my place worked for 2 defence companies a week. 3 days at mine, 2 days at another. Oh, okay. Yeah, so that's slightly different, Toby, though, right? Because if you're doing 2 part-time jobs, you can be upfront, right? I think what the question was being asked was like full-on overemployment and having 2 full-time contractor roles or even overlap at all. I think it's difficult unless you're if you're contracting, it makes it easier, but having 2 employed roles is difficult. Great, mate, thank you. You're welcome. Reese, tutorial links, just found them on YouTube. Oh, but that's pointless, isn't it? It let me copy and paste it in. Sorry about that. Mitch Smith, I'm in your Discord, pay for the book. Currently a floor layer, but looking to switch career. Nice one, buddy. Nice one. I'll try and get the book out as soon as I can. Like, it's coming together nicely. I'm adding new bits. Like section 1, I need to update the product page. But section 1 was just going to be DevOps. It's now going to be DevOps and Agile. So I did a video a few days ago, and around Agile and just how ways. In fact, I never published it because I recorded it twice. It was 10 minutes long, and TikTok. I was out and about, and TikTok just kept removing it, so I didn't put it up. But when my latest videos have been like the 60-second series. And I've got like 40 ideas for that, and one of them, a few of them are going to be around Agile, Scrum, Kanban, all of that stuff, and stuff to expect in your first role. So we'll cover off DevOps because I want to chunk it into weeks. It doesn't have to be rigidly weeks, but I want 12 weeks in this of my course. So at some point we can run a boot camp with it as well, and over 12 weeks. But in the 12-week course, the first week will be DevOps, which is really going to be the principles and stuff like that behind it, and it's just not going to take a week, so that I can fit in some Agile stuff there. And we will create like a free account on Atlassian for Jira. We'll create a project. You will split things into a ticket, and it can be a project for like the course as well, right? We can have an epic for each section, and then we'll create tasks and stuff like that. So that's going to actually form section 1 of the course, and I will update the course details. So the course is just going to get bigger as I come up with stuff, really. So if you got in early on the cheap, then you're going to benefit the most, I expect. Skoda, is web scraping a thing in your role as DevOps? No, I've never written anything web scraping in my role. I've done it outside though, like because Python uses like Selenium and Beautiful Soup and stuff for that sort of stuff. I've done that actually and created like a price checker. I was going to release it. It was called like Price Ninja or something. I bought the domain and stuff, like price.ninja I think it was, and then when it came to renewal it was about 100 quid, so I canned it. But basically that was like scraping. I think I had like ASOS, Currys, Amazon, and something else, Topshop or something. Found the necessary bits on the pricing page, and then you could add in a URL, and then it would every day it would check the price for you, and if it was lower than the last recorded one in the database, it would ping you, and that was using web scraping. But that sort of stuff is useful, only useful when there's no API, because you'll get rate limited eventually. Web scraping in Python works. Selenium. There you go. Someone's literally just said there about Selenium and web drivers and stuff. Hey Mark, any tips for improving soft skills before moving into tech? I'd imagine your management experience prior to DevOps helped tremendously. Seems to be a very collaborative field of work. Improving soft skills is so difficult, as in it's difficult to tell, right? It's all about communication. That's what it boils down to. Is speaking up and actually being heard, and that makes a big difference, because as you're moving up, so moving into your first role, you don't have to worry about it so much, right? In the interview, you're going to get asked for part of the interview, is not just about your technical skills, it's also about understanding how you'll fit in the team. So obviously you need to be friendly and personable and stuff. That's for your junior role, but you're not going to be expected to do loads of the stuff that kind of like I do now, for instance, around like coaching and mentoring and guidance of juniors. So you can build that over time, but you do need to be aware that at some point you are going to be like, you can get to mid-level without too, like with just time on your side, with a couple of years under your belt, right? But to make the progress from mid to senior, and you've got to think, right, in a team you've potentially got a couple of juniors, 5, 6, 7, 8 at mid-level, and then a couple of seniors. So you've got a lot of people going for that role. And then if you want to be like a technical lead or, you know, DevOps lead, DevOps manager stuff, the thing that you need to exhibit is talking up all the time and having an opinion. Yeah, talking up, having an opinion, but also being able to change people's way of thinking towards your idea if you've got a good challenge on something. So if you're on some sort of project call or whatever, and people are saying, okay, I think we should do it this way because, and then you disagree, like just saying, oh no, I think that's a shit idea, is obviously not great. And so you need to be able to formulate that in such a way that you can bring them on board to your way of thinking. That's a massive part of it. It's basically manipulation under the hood, right? And so you need to be better at being able to talk to people in a way that is getting your point across whilst also influencing them. There's some great books on like how to make friends and influence people. I think there's one. I've read hundreds and hundreds. I've spent so much money. Those sorts of books like cost a fortune. They're not just like £6-7 novels, are they? They're like £30 a pop. So I buy them brand new off Amazon like an idiot, and then when you come to resell them or whatever, get rid of them to make space, you get like £3 back. So yeah, there are books that will get you into the mindset of that. So I think that's probably the easiest way. Read some books on it, but it is about, as you progress, just being heard, because when you get into management you will realise and you will look out for the people that speak up, the people that are able to influence people, and then when you want to become a senior, you need to actually be able to mentor and have a good approach with juniors to bring them along, not just telling them what to do all the time. But coaching them into getting the answer themselves. Someone dropped a rose a while ago. Sorry, I missed that. Symphony, thank you for that, buddy. I don't actually know what happens to those. I think I got a couple in the last one as well. Kodo and Day. For internships, do you need to do software engineering and transition to DevOps would be helpful? If you can get an internship directly into DevOps, then go for it. But if you're a software engineer or a role on the ops side, then there is two halves to the same puzzle, right? If you can do one or the other first, then picking up the other side is considerably easier. I'd imagine software engineer is easier to move into DevOps if there's no direct route to DevOps. Bilal, Bash scripting or Python scripting, or which is more efficient and more used nowadays? You need to know Bash, because Bash is basically how you move around the terminal on a Linux box. Python is the scripts you're going to be writing more of. One of my places used only PowerShell, and I just avoided all of that code like the plague because I hated it. Use a bit of Bash, but it's mainly going to be Python, mate. I don't know you do classes in accountability. I would get into August 2nd. I don't know you do classes in accountability. I would get into August 2nd. I'm not sure the question, buddy. There's no course or training included in the accountability group, but that 2nd of August one is closed. What I will do is give you my course outline if you're stuck for what you're going for. A lot of people are in training already, but at least 3 or 4 people are like, can I just follow with some guidance, and then you can get all your references. You can either get a course, or you can go on YouTube and get this information you need, and just practicing and stuff. That accountability group is about keeping people to account, to make sure you're kept on track. You'll be expected to provide objectives and then updates on how you're getting on against them and stuff like that, and that's how you'll stay on that track. And after 12 weeks you'll have formed a habit. After 3 or 4 you should have, but after 12 weeks you'll definitely be like moving towards it. Bilal, or you seem to have just tagged yourself. I don't know if there's more on there, buddy. How do I learn coding quickly to apply to a software engineer internship? YouTube, if you want to do quick, or find a course. You can probably find a 20-hour course that you could do over the weekend if you've got 20 hours to spare. Depends how quick you learn, how desperate you are for it, but you could do that, no problem. Just move that over there. Side note, absolutely buzzing. I bought myself a MacBook Air today, M2 chip. It's coming tomorrow. Can't wait. I've just got a shitty Chromebook is the only laptop I've had, and I thought I will treat myself. I've also got an iPhone, no iPhone coming. Only a 12 though. I could not bring myself to spend £1,000 on an iPhone 14. They're about to drop the 15 as well, aren't they? So I should probably waited. The 12 would have been even cheaper. But I thought it was a steal. It was only 630 quid, 640 quid on Amazon. Nice. T-Dog, how you doing, buddy? Do some companies have a preference of either Windows or Mac computers? In terms of working with them, they should be giving you a Mac, mate. Anything other than a Mac is ridiculous. But in DevOps, all I've ever had is a Mac. In the dev world, you do get a choice, to be fair. My very first company asked me what I wanted. They gave me a Windows machine. I asked them if I could strip it, and I put Ubuntu on it instead. My second company just gave me a Mac, no questions asked, and I think I've had a Mac ever since, to be honest. My company before I'm at now had the M1 Max, and it was just the basic M1 with 8 gigs of RAM. And our Terraform, it was huge, right? It was just one big repo, and it was 60 gig. And I didn't realise until about 9 months in, when I was showing a junior how big it was, as they Git cloned it. It was 60 gig. And so I used VS Code and the Terraform plugins. I didn't realise. I thought the plugin was just shit, but it was obviously trying to lint everything all the time, and so the 8 gig was just topped out all the time. The Mac was just hot all the time. It was awful. So yeah, I am excited to see what this M2 is like. I've only got the 13.6 inch one. Connor's just put something in. I bought one a few months back. I didn't hold back for the 15 inch. I don't want the 15 inch. That feels like it's not a MacBook Air. Like, how are they going to sell a MacBook Air at 15 inch and a MacBook Pro? Because they've got the same M2 chip, right? I feel like they're just cannibalizing, and they might be doing it on purpose. They're just cannibalizing like almost the MacBook Pro, and I think like they've got these studio things now, haven't they? Studio Macs. They look incredible value for money. But yeah, I don't know. I can't remember how I got onto that now. Yeah, Windows or Mac. So yeah, you should get a choice, T-Dog. That's what I see in tech. A lot of the devs use Windows. I don't understand how they do it. Although that said, I've got a local Windows machine and I do develop on it fine. I've got Docker Desktop and all of that stuff, and it works fine. I just have like a Docker development workflow. I create a Docker file immediately, and then run it, and then just like map all the files and stuff, and then just work on the live files in the container. So it seems to work. Poodle Flum. I've just bought the Mac Mini M2 through Student Store. Mac's a pleasure to work on. Yeah, I do love a Mac. I've got the MacBook Pro. It's a big one. It's like an i9, so it must be a few years old. That's my work machine. And then I'm gonna have this MacBook Air, which is still in the 8 gig and 256 SSD, but I've got like a 4 terabyte NAS drive in my office, so I'll just stick everything on there, so the SSD will be fine. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what it does, because the M1 was pretty rapid, so, and I hear the M2 is supposed to be like 20-30% faster at least. Mexicity. Do I need to do projects etc. for software engineering internship? You need to know more than Python. If it's software engineering, you need to. I don't know what internships. Internship feels fairly low level, so you should be able to do. You shouldn't need much, but they must have requirements, right? I don't know what the job description like. Do you have a job description for an internship? I'm just really not familiar with that word whatsoever. The more you know, the easier it's going to be. If you've already got it, then obviously you've already proven you've got stuff. If you haven't already got it, then I would do some more research on what's actually required. Osman, good evening. Hi, how are you? T-Dog, best user Mac then. I'm used to Windows. Like I said, mate, you will get a choice, right? Most tech companies or companies with tech departments will give you the tools you need to do the job. I just think using a Mac and the terminal on a Mac, it's like, I don't know what the default is. It might be ZSH these days, but it's very similar to Linux, and so all of the commands are mostly the same. Like, you can use a command line using brew. That's like a package manager, which is very similar to using like Ubuntu or Debian. Like just brew install such and such a package without like going to the website and downloading it and things. Like, it's just very workflow wise, it just works well. And there's some cool software that's Mac only. Usman, I'm trying to do a self-paced course for DevOps, Linux with AWS. Find it hard to do it. Is there any course you recommend? Usman, my roadmap is one of my pinned videos, and in my link tree, which is on the screen, and is also in my bio, there is one of the bottom links on my link tree is my book and course recommendations, and like I got a plugin made that splits it all out, so you can click on any topic and it will give you my recommended courses. There's not loads on there because they're only courses I've bought myself. I try not to just shove loads down your throat, but they're all courses that I can vouch for at least. And then I'm also working on a course myself, but it sounds like you're already underway, so that's not going to be ready for a good few months yet. Below, I learned Ubuntu, did a lot of command practice. I'm going to start Jenkins for automation testing. Yeah, go for it, buddy. Below, check out my roadmap in my videos as well. It's my pinned video. Just make sure you're going through and getting all of the skills along the way. It's quite a jump from Linux straight into Jenkins and stuff before you've looked at software and that. Ghost, to me, Mac is cool and using Windows is cool. Yeah, it's fine. Like, whatever you're used to, like, just be the most productive you can possibly be, and if that is using Windows, that's fine. Matt, do you know if the AWS Solutions Architect set is difficult? I don't know if it is, but it's multiple choice, I expect, so it's not going to. It can only be so difficult, can't it? Solutions Architect is something I want to go down in terms of learning. I won't do the cert, but I will go down that route in terms of learning. But I couldn't say. Osman, please answer my DevOps related question. Didn't I just do that, buddy? I'm like 10 messages behind, guys, so bear with. No fans on the MacBook Air M2. Have a Pro M2 for work. Couldn't justify the cost. Is there no fans? That's interesting. Okay. Well, I don't plan on doing anything too heavy because I'll edit any videos on this PC. It's fairly old, but it's got a 3070 Ti in it. So in terms of rendering and stuff, although I imagine the M2 will probably be better than that anyway, given how good they are. Hi, current role is solution design. I understand SQL and basic Python, and I would like to move into developer and then maybe technical architect. if you're already in solution design, you could probably just go straight to technical architect. They sound fairly similar, although I can't profess to know what both of those are. If you know basic Python, I mean, it's a bit of a stretch to go from basic Python to Python developer. I feel like you could potentially what I would do is look at your job description, look at a job description for a Python dev, and look at a job description for a technical architect. See where you match up the most, and then focus on the skills. Just get to the end goal, right? Just focus on getting straight to the end goal. You don't take unnecessary steps in between. Kavan, hey Mark, I changed my career from automotive to cloud, but in sales. I enjoy your TikToks. I appreciate that, buddy. Cloud sales, any tech sales is crazy. My brother-in-law does tech sales, and his basic is roughly mine, but he earns the same again. In fact, it's higher than mine, and he earns the same again in bonuses. It's like my sister's like 8 years younger than me, and she's in sales. It's not tech sales, but like she gets huge bonuses. And whilst my overall package is higher, it feels like getting like a 10 grand bonus every quarter. Feels amazing, I think. What learning path would you recommend? Oh, Sebastian, I think I just covered that after the night. I tell all of my old colleagues to make the jump. Yeah, 100%. Getting into like tech is the future, right? We've been saying that for years. Well, it's not even the future; it's now. And people have been saying that for years. It's not going anywhere. AI is not taking our jobs. Like all of that shit. Like it's a good time to learn, right? And if you're younger than 60, like there's no bad time to do it, right? We can't retire until we're in our 60s in this country. It's going to be 70 by the time a lot of us get there. Change your career, do something you really enjoy and get paid for it. Best way to move from cybersecurity to DevOps. I don't know enough about cybersecurity, although it really interests me. I imagine you're not doing much by the way of coding or pipeline, so it feels like you might be starting from scratch. But you'll know better than I do what skills are transferable between the two. So focus on those and then just hit the roadmap. It doesn't matter what position you're in, really. Like, look at the roadmap, look at my course outline. Even if you don't want to buy the course outline has some good information in it. And it's like a more fleshed out version of my roadmap. And that's all available on my website. Look at that, and then if you already know it, you can obviously just skip those bits. Motion, when do you reckon the best time of year is to apply? I least too competitive. There's no good time. There's no best time. It makes no difference. I imagine the busiest time is January, right? People go back after Christmas and they're like, I can't fucking do my job anymore. But apart from that, Reese, as a beginner, so much of the terminology right now is just foreign to me. I know, buddy. I'm gonna have a glossary, and maybe rather than put the glossary at the back, I will put it at the front of the course, like in the book and stuff, and be like, you're gonna hear all this shit. This is what it means. Also, this TikTok series I've just started of like DevOps in 60 seconds, Linux in 60 seconds. They're the 2 videos I've done so far. I could do the terminology thing and break that down into like 30-second videos, no problem. So I could probably do 100 videos on that, if not more. So yeah, maybe I'll do something like that as well. Apple user, WSL2 is a lifesaver. Yeah, exactly. So if you are on Windows, there is a thing called Windows Subsystem for Linux, and you can have various Linux distributions, like just a terminal version on your thing without installing anything else other than the WSL. Like I've got WSL Ubuntu, for instance, and if I double click Ubuntu, I'm in as if I was on an Ubuntu server, and then it's got its own space and stuff. It doesn't affect my local machine, and I can do most stuff on the command line there. So Windows is good for that. Colo and have you applied for FANG? Hedge funds pay the most, don't they? Or do you live out? I don't live in London, buddy, but yeah, financial services pay high, and FANG do pay high. So I applied for AWS before I got my current role. In fact, I applied for 10 companies you've probably heard of, but some of them took so long, and the AWS one in particular was a hard no on the work from home. So they were setting up a project in like 100-person project in Reading, which is not a million miles away from me, but I didn't want to go into the office for that long. And they would, like, the best they could do was like 1 day a week from home, because it was like a subcontractor thing. It was weird. It was like a very cloak and dagger, like it couldn't be spoken about or whatever. If I'd have got into the process properly, I'd have had to sign an NDA and stuff if I was part of the process. It was weird. So I pulled out after 3 weeks of applying, having not heard back from them at all. And I shot myself in the foot a bit there, because I later realised that my old boss for my second or third role was the heading up that team, so I'd have potentially got it. And I imagine they pay stupid amounts. Mike, I can do basic SQL queries. Is that a good base to start? You're not going to do much SQL in DevOps, buddy, but understanding it is useful. Gurpreet Singh, how do I get in touch with you? Well, you can ask me a question on here. I've got my DMs are usually open. I don't block those. You can join my Discord. Link to that is on the link tree you can see on the screen, and that link is also in my bio. Bear with. Oh, that's gone a bit dark, isn't it? Let me get a white screen up. There we go. Do you think you can become a competent DevOps engineer if I do all the courses listed on your site? Motion, yes. I consider myself a competent DevOps engineer, and I did most of the courses on my site. In fact, I did less than that entire list before I got my first job. So if you actually do them all, you'll be in a better position than I was. Ghost, but I'm using Amazon free tier, but pay little whenever I leave a machine running. Ghost, you got to make sure that shit's turned off every night. AWS is a scary place to be if you leave stuff running that you shouldn't. Set up some billing alerts as well. What you want to do is, every time you create something, like, learn the basics of AWS and how it works, and then learn Terraform, and then only create resources using Terraform, because then that way you know everything that's been created, because it doesn't go off and add extra bits for you. It only creates what you specify, and then you can just do a Terraform destroy, and then you're never going to have that problem. How much detail should one learn Python to go into DevOps? Holler at me. All you need to do is know the programming fundamentals. So you need to know about loops, data types, variables, interacting with files, and then how to create functions, really. Installing packages in Python and working in like virtual environments. So that's like development 101, really. So you need like the development fundamentals, and then you will have enough to create scripts. You're not going to be writing full-on programs. You don't need to be a full-on developer at all. So yeah, you just need to be able to script. Can I pop this video? What have I just done? Okay, now we're rolling. I can pop out the TikTok chat and make it bigger. Look at that. Right. What can I expect on the technical interview for a DevOps role? If it's your first DevOps role, Omid, then you can expect them to ask you about maybe a whiteboard exercise, how you would architect a web application for high availability. Is a very common one. If you search that and recommended answers, you'll be in a good place. I'm going to include that sort of stuff in my course, actually. At the end, there's like an interview prep, so the final week is interview prep, and I'll be doing like dummy interviews. I'll just be interviewing myself probably, and then I will do some whiteboard stuff in there, as well as like probably a dozen questions around DevOps. But a lot of it is going to be, tell me what you know about AWS, like really, really generic, and then you can explain to them that it's a cloud platform, blah, blah, blah. And the minute you mention a service and be like, well, I know their virtual machines are called EC2, they'll dig into, okay, tell me what you know about EC2. And they'll keep going and going and going until you say, oh, I don't know. And that isn't a problem. They just want to know exactly how far your knowledge goes. So you would be right into the weeds of EC2, depending on what you know. And then they'll be like, right, tell me about storage solutions in Amazon. And then you might go down a rabbit hole with S3 or EBS and stuff like that. So yeah, it's not going to be too technical. So as long as you've done your research, you'll be fine. Steph Shadow, I'm finishing level 1 cybersecurity. Can you recommend intro jobs? I assume there's junior cybersecurity roles. I don't know enough about it, Steph, unfortunately. I'm interested in cybersecurity, but I've never, like, the only time I've ever looked at roles in that space is when I was going for my current role, or in my current company. One of the roles I was put forward for was Experian. I think I mentioned this on my last live, but not all of you would have been there. So basically, Experian were willing to take the chance on me because of my background and basically train me up to be a cybersecurity thing. And like, I seem to be getting through all these interviews, and I pulled out at the end because I had a job offer from my current company. So I don't know what the junior space looks like, to be honest. LinkedIn recruiters are your friend, so I would spend some time there. Hopefully that helps stuff. Code Dare, you apply for AWS. What are the roles called that are DevOps? I thought it would be DevOps engineer. Yeah, it was DevOps engineer or cloud infrastructure engineer. Oh, I tell you what, I will have it. Hold on. This is going to sound really sad, but when I was applying for these roles, there were so many. In fact, I'll read them out to you if that's of any interest to anyone. Where is it? I've got like a recruitment tracker. I created a recruitment tracker website, not website, spreadsheet in Google Sheets, right? Here we go. So when I was going for this current role, I was on like 88k, I think. So I put down like base salaries, bonuses, stock options if there were any, car allowances, pension contributions, all that stuff, so I could get a total compensation. So then I had a job, senior cloud Experian, as I've just mentioned, senior cloud and container security engineer. That paid 85k basic with a 17.5% bonus plus a 10% bonus if the company did well, plus a 5,250 car allowance, even though it was fully remote, and then a 10% pension contribution. That is wild. That total package was £122,000. And the reason I pulled out of that was because all of the other cybersecurity engineers, there was about 8 of them, they were all in the States, so I'd have been on my own, having never done the job before. Santander cloud engineer, 110k basic, £16,500 bonus, so that's 15%, and they did £6,000 car allowance and 12.5% pension contributions. 12.5. You didn't even have to put in yourself for that. That was £146,000 total package. I withdrew from that before the technical interview. It was in the diary. That was also 30 days holiday. I got the first interview, but it was so far down the line that I accepted a role considerably less money. Glass Wall, I don't even know what they do. That's senior DevOps engineer. ITV, they call theirs platform engineers, and that actually has turned out, if you're in the UK and you watch on demand, ITVX, that was for that project. So that would have been cool as fuck. That was 100k basic. Virgin Media, they call theirs senior software and security engineers. That was 100k basic. AWS system development engineer. That is what you're looking for. It is not DevOps engineer. System development engineer. And I didn't know what their salary was, but I was assured it was 6 figures. There you go. Now you know. Colandea. So yes, I did apply for AWS. Hi Mark, I'm already in DevOps but not using any of the tech. What What do you mean, Jimog? I'm already in DevOps, but not using any of the tech. What are you doing then? What's your role? Ghost. Yes, that's how I'm doing my projects with Terraform. Okay, if you're doing it with Terraform, buddy, just don't forget a Terraform to destroy. And if you think you might forget, just run it in Lambda. Just get it to run every day at like 8 p.m. or whatever. Whenever you log off last, just get it to run automatically. ID best book to start with. The 3 books I recommend around DevOps and the culture are the Gene Kim books. There's 3 of them. They're linked on my website if you want to click through and give me the affiliate income for it. If you're not into that, then it's called the Phoenix Project is number 1, Unicorn Project is number 2, and then the DevOps Handbook is number 3. I've got them all here. Great books. Book Big Ben. Don't we need to have access to the course before we join the accountability group? No, Big Ben. The accountability group is all in the product description. Is not a course. It's a 12-week group where 12 people are in a group holding each other to account, and that means jumping on a call every week for an hour to say what you've done, what you plan on doing, and making sure you've done it and you're not skipping your training days. There'll be 3 private live streams which we can use for training if you want, but the things that the people are going to be following is like the course outline, but you need to find the resources yourself or have courses lined up to do it. That's what the purpose of the accountability group. It's not a boot camp where you go through the training. It is you can follow the syllabus, and everything is available on YouTube if you need it anyway. Follow the syllabus or read the books, and you'll be guided along the way, but there's no actual training included, buddy. Dre, should you also go for some of the AWS certs? No, they're a waste of time, man. You don't need the AWS certs. You don't need any certs for anything. They just don't prove enough. Mario Alexandru, what tool would you advise a cloud engineer with 2 years experience learn? If you've got 2 years to land a job as a DevOps engineer, to be honest, you probably won't. If you're building pipelines, you could be using any of the CI/CD tools for that. It doesn't matter which, as long as you've got one under your belt, which you should do as a cloud engineer. You'll have cloud, as in AWS or something. You'll have that knowledge. You'll have some sort of programming under your belt as well. So you should just be able to move. Like, I've worked in places where cloud engineers are actually DevOps engineers with a different title. So I wouldn't be surprised if you could just move between them. Your best bet is to get a recruiter, and on LinkedIn in particular, and just get them to do the work for you. That's what I do. I haven't applied for a job for a long time. What is a systems engineer? Systems engineer, it was that role that I told you at Amazon, so it's just another name. It's all the same. Just another name for DevOps engineer. Ethereal, the operations side of DevOps, is that like maintaining infrastructure? What does that part do? Yeah, so anything that's not software related, so like the software development, anything that's not there, it's around the deployment of it, or the infrastructure standing up, or the infrastructure maintenance, or the monitoring, all of that is ops. How do we find a decent recruiter? James, they found me, to be honest. The minute I put DevOps engineer in my CV, like, I already had a big network because I've taken LinkedIn seriously for many, many years. So I already had maybe 1,000 people on there. But as soon as you put some tech stuff in your background on LinkedIn, then you start to show up in searches. So now I show up for DevOps engineers all the time. If I switch on one day on a live, and if I'm actually actively looking for a job, I will switch on my LinkedIn to say I'm active for work, and then I'll live stream for a few hours, and you can just watch my inbox fill up with all Mark. Oh, I understand you're looking for roles. Blah blah blah. It's hilarious. As soon as you've got DevOps or anything like that in your title and highly sought after skill, you get inundated. So James, what I don't think I've answered the question. look for them on LinkedIn, find technical recruiter, DevOps recruiter, insert role name recruiter, and just start to connect with them, because they're recruiters. They will accept anyone, and so then you'll be on their radar, and they want you on the books. T-Dog, how's the book going along? Yeah, it's getting there, mate. I'm making more progress fleshing out the outline than I am actually writing it, unfortunately. But I was writing it, and that's what prompted me doing the 60-second stuff that I started doing today. So like DevOps in 60 seconds, Linux in 60 seconds. That was just a snapshot of some of the stuff that I was starting to write. Alana, junior role. Are you just left to it, or does someone help you out initially? So my first role was I was just left to it. It was awful. I did a video on it. I had a senior Python dev, was basically the person I had to look up to, and my boss was an IT manager, so he didn't really understand cloud, and I was just left on my own really until the senior left, and then the new guy came in, and he was amazing. That is not a normal experience. You won't often be the only DevOps engineer in the company as a junior, which is what the position I found myself in. You will should be allocated to a senior as a mentor, someone to show you the ropes, where all the code is, what the expectations are, how you submit PRs, or the code you should work on, the tickets you should get, the sorts of stuff you should leave. All of that stuff you should be allocated. That's a role I played in my last place when juniors came on board, or a junior came on board. We had 3 or 4 of them, and each of us got assigned to bring them up to speed on certain things. So no, you definitely won't be left. Had 2 internships but no job after uni. That's awful. So what is someone talk me through the purpose of an internship? Is it literally just to get experience where they don't have to pay you? Because I thought an internship was like a path into getting a job. I never went to uni, so I'm not sure. I feel like already OPS to some ops to some degree already. Is there a way of getting into ops but not software codey side? DevOps is that really? So I don't write software other than scripts. So DevOps is what you want. Like DevOps as a culture thing and as a set of principles is so far removed from what DevOps is now. I am basically looking after operations, monitoring, budgeting and stuff, and I don't do as much. I don't write much software. Whereas I think when it first came out, it was like a full hybrid 50-50. Syed, what is the best template to implement a CI/CD pipeline for a startup? There's no best template, buddy. It all depends on the software that you're running, the CI/CD software that you're using, the type of application you're deploying. You can't just off-the-shelf template your stuff. Reese, currently on second-hand book sites, picking up Phoenix and Unicorn projects and the DevOps handbook. Yeah, they're pretty heavy books, buddy. I'd maybe just buy one at a time. I'll do a giveaway in my Discord on them at some point. I will keep them because I'll read them again, but I'll buy some new ones and maybe and give them away. In fact, Reese, that's a great idea. When I finish my course, I'm going to do a boot camp. It will cost loads more than anything else I've sold, but as part of it, I'm going to get some DevOps Academy t-shirts made up with my logo on, and those 3 books can be part of a care package. I'll get a coffee mug made up, or a mouse mat or something, and a USB drive or whatever, just some funky shit to give people. MK, hi, I'm a secondary science teacher. How can I change careers into DevOps? Same advice as I give everyone. The roadmap is on my pinned videos. If you want, and so you find those skills, and then I've got a course for not my courses. I've got courses that I did for each of those skills listed on my website, markinthecloud.com, or you can head to my link tree, and there's actually a link that will take you directly there. And that's what you need to do. Or if you go onto the link tree, there is a link to my course, the book and the video. That product page, buy it if you want, but you don't need to. But in that product page has the course breakdown, which is my roadmap in way more detail. And so you can then take all of the stuff from that course breakdown and put that into YouTube to get the content that you need. Right, I've neglected YouTube a little bit saying that, sorry. Gunnar Mo, how do you know when it's time to look for other positions, especially when you're a junior? Gunnar Mo, if after 12 months you're not being talked to about like progression and how you get from your junior role to a mid-level role, move. If you feel like you're confident and you could go and write infrastructure as code yourself and you could do a bunch of stuff that you've been looking at and see in yourself, then move to a mid-level role. A year's fine. A year of actual work experience is absolutely fine. Stephen Emerson on YouTube, following your roadmap and course list about halfway through, day 34 of the Python course, the Python mega course, is accessing reading CSV files and plotting graphs relevant to DevOps. Stephen, happy learning either way, just curious, thanks for the efforts and resources. Stephen, that course, you can skip some of it. If you've got the fundamentals, I put it in because it's an incredible course, but if you know the fundamentals, you can do, like, the CSV file is useful, yes, but interacting with files in general, if you understand the data types, and you can do loops in Python, you can interact with an SQL database, even if it's SQLite, and you can run system commands using like OS or sys, whatever it is, then you're most of the way there. If you can write functions and like split things out properly and pass in parameters into functions, just leave that, build some scripts yourself, or maybe build your own command line tool to, create like a budgeting command line tool, or even a password generator, something that you can do on the command line and it spits you out like however many characters you want with special symbols and stuff. Build something like that yourself, and that just really cements it. It doesn't need to be major for Python, buddy. Right. Get loads of traffic on my site when I'm on live. Right, where are we? Oh, it's a bit dark again, isn't it? I should have bought some lights from Amazon. Never mind the bloody Mac. Where are we? That's what I thought was feeding. Many thanks. Yeah, Bosh. See, Stephen. So this goes for anyone, right? If you're learning anything on YouTube or on Udemy, wherever, and you feel like you've got enough, like, I'll give you a good example of this, right? I did a PHP course. It was about 40 hours long, and it was building essentially a blogging app. And so I went through the course, and I got about halfway, maybe 60% of the way through, and I'd learned how to do like URL redirects, stuff like that. I created a login system, all of those things, right? Interact with the database. And so I got that far and I was just like, this is so boring to me now. I'm losing interest. If you ever get to that point, step away, plan out your own project and build that, and then just refer back to it if you need to. So then from that, I built myself an app. In fact, I built 2 apps. My first app was like a life admin type app, and so you could create like a birthday reminder thing, and when it was due it would email you in the morning, so you could create like an event date and a reminder date, and you could add a label and you could create custom labels. I was going to do make a SaaS out of it, but I just couldn't be bothered in the end, and so I've created that. I've created like a metrics tool as well, like just using PHP. It's actually a really cool language, even though people take the piss out of it. So as soon as you know enough, just go and build something. You'll learn so much more from building. Right, I'm way behind again. Gee, I'm literally doing this then. Look after infrastructure by running scripts, monitoring. Yeah, it sounds like you are DevOps. Big Ben, what's the difference between DevOps and platform engineering? Not a lot. I've never been a platform engineer, and there's a few nuances between the roles, but they feel like they are roughly the same. Platform engineers appear to build tools a bit more, but I couldn't say for sure. I got that. I searched for that on Reddit once, and that was the answer I got. just as an IT consultant, technician. Okay, Chloe, and internships are usually 12 weeks paid after the second year. If you're good, you might get an offer after uni. And for experience with a bad rep, is it worth learning Jenkins, Circle CI and Get Action? Oh, okay, thanks for the explanation on internships. I didn't have a clue. Connor B. With the bad rep, is it worth learning Jenkins, Circle CI and Get Action? Seem to have a lot of noise. Oh, that coffee's cold. Rank. How long have I been live? That's over an hour. That coffee wasn't even boiling at the time when I started. Right, so sorry, your question is it worth learning Jenkins? Yes, my course is going to have Jenkins on it, but I talk badly about it a lot. Oh shit, what T-Dog's been sending me stuff. Sorry buddy, I can't even see those. He sent me some daisies and a peace sign, thank you. I don't know what they mean, but I know they're probably not free, so I appreciate that, thank you. Sorry, is it worth learning Jenkins? So yes, I'm going to teach Jenkins only because it's open source and you can just spin up a Jenkins Docker image. So I'm going to do Linux and then I'm going to do Docker fairly early on, which means we can then spin up Docker containers at will, and I can show you how that works, and we can use tools like open source tools like Jenkins. So spinning up a Jenkins container and being able to get into the UI very early on in the course is going to be useful. That said, it is a bit of a shitter. It's open source software. It is a bit like there's a lot of noise about it being insecure, all sorts of shit. But we use it at my current company, and it's the two out of the 4 companies I've been at used it. So it is around, and it's a good grounding in writing pipeline jobs and stuff like that. So it is useful. I've got the current ticket I'm working on at work at the moment is investigating using GitHub Actions instead of Jenkins. So that probably tells you all you need to know. Reese, yes mate, do it. Merch store. Yes, shall I? Merch, DevOps, the DevOps Academy merch store, or Mark in the Cloud. Get baseball caps and all sorts. No, I think that's probably taking the piss at that point. Is it worth learning Kubernetes? I covered this earlier on, but Banksy, not for a junior role. If you walk into a company and they do use it, then do a course on it immediately. But no, I wouldn't necessarily do it straight away. Like it's a lot to get your head around. Just understanding Docker and the managed versions of containers is fine. Sell the teas and cups as merch. Can never have enough tech merch. Well, yeah, that is true, Connor B. I follow a streamer on YouTube. He's just moved from Twitch to YouTube, and I've just bought like a mug of his and some stickers. A mug and some stickers because I've just got the new logos made up as well. Mark in the Cloud and DevOps Academy. Some stickers would be cool, and that I just want to put all that shit in a merch box though, and send them to people. I would buy cups and mouse mats. T-Dog. Oh, you're tempting me now. Yeah, but the problem is, right, I either need to buy hundreds of them and just find somewhere to keep them, or you lot get ripped off by having to pay about £20 for a fucking mouse mat because it's like print on demand, and it's for no reason really, because I'll probably make like £1 out of it, and it's just like it feels like you're paying over the odds. I'm not making any money out of it. It just feels like completely pointless. But maybe if I do a boot camp. The 60-second series seems like a hit, mate. Keep it up. Is it? I haven't actually looked at the second one. Has that done well? Is that why this live has had a decent amount of people in? Let's have a look. Hold the line, please, caller. Oh, did I even post the second one? Oh, shit. The 60-second ones? I'll pop it off. 66 notifications. Okay. It looks like I stumbled across something then, guys. Jesus Christ. Okay, sweet. That explains a lot, because if that's been popping off and everyone's been coming straight into here, then that makes a lot of sense. And my followers have been going up quite a lot, and it's not from the live because I've only got 2 from the live. Yeah, I don't know who just popped that out. Who said that? It's popping off. Oh, that was Lou. Yes, Lou. They look good, don't they, mate? I've literally got. I'll try and show you. 60-second series. I don't know if this is going to be blurred or not. My shitty old iPhone. I'm getting a new one tomorrow. Yeah, I've got Linux, which I've done now. I've got Bash, SSH, Docker, Python, Git, GitHub, networking, and then TCP, IPs. Basically, all of my course topics that I'm going to break stuff down to, I'm going to do 60-second. And what I might do is roll all of that into, I don't know, what is there, 40? So it'll be like a 40-minute video. And I could just roll it and add it onto YouTube, couldn't I? As like a 40-minute mini course, as like a little pre-sale type free thing. Do you remember why you got such an old phone? This is an iPhone SE. If you've watched my budget video, how I spend my salary, you'll know that I am, despite the money that I earn, I live a very frugal lifestyle. This phone costs me £16.20 a month or something. I only got it a couple of years ago. I had the iPhone 7 before that. I've just ordered the iPhone 12. It's coming tomorrow, and that's 2 years old already. But I just can't bring myself to spend about 1,200 quid on the 14, whatever it is, Pro Max shit. But I have just bought an £1,100 fucking Mac M2, so that's coming tomorrow, so that'll be nice. Before I treat myself. Falling behind again. Where am I? T-Dog, am I thinking of doing a boot camp? Yes, I am thinking of doing a boot camp, right? Because the course is great, or it will be when it's finished. But not everyone. So I've got the accountability group, right? So that is its own separate thing. And if you're learning already, or you just want some guidance on where to go and what to learn, then the accountability group is great, and that gives you your group of 12 people as well to lean on. The courses are like standalone things, so you can have a book if you read that way, or just want it to reference, and you've got the video course, which is going to get you, which would be obviously you can code along with, and then to bring those 3 things together, I'm going to do a boot camp, and that boot camp will run for 12 weeks as well, or maybe 16 weeks, because I've said a lot that the final 4 weeks needs to be like a project thing. But it might be like a 12-week where we literally go through, I don't know, an hour a day. I don't know if I can commit to an hour a day, so I need to really think it through. I could do an hour a day of learning every day, so like a live training, like every evening, 5 days a week. But you can imagine, over the course of 12 weeks, that's a lot of time, and therefore will be quite expensive. So I just need to think about what that looks like. But then again, we could have a group then of maybe 12, maybe even 24 people that are on that are all doing it and all starting from exactly the same position. Whereas the accountability group, you could be anywhere in your journey, although a lot of people are at the beginning. So that would be the plan. But then, and that's what I was talking about, like some sort of care package where I can send you the books, some sort of brandable merch, hat, mug, t-shirts, whatever. So yeah, but like you'll be talking hundreds and hundreds of pounds at that point, because that shit takes a long time, and I'd need to be on hand a lot. So I don't know. I would love to do that, but I said I wouldn't even do a course about 3 or 4 weeks ago. So yeah, here we are. We'll see. LHX 100. Hi, can you give me a guide on how to start and where to start from scratch? It's all in my roadmap, buddy. The roadmap is one of my pinned videos. It tells you all the skills you need to learn, and then on my website, markinthecloud.com, there is a courses page, and that's where you need to get the courses. I'd rather rock a hat or a beanie. This is what I mean. It's like, how much merch do I need to set up? Who's really going to walk around with a beanie with DevOps Academy on it though? Like, come on now. Use Vistaprint for merchandise, T-Dog. Right, I'm going to look at that now whilst you're on. Let's have a look. Vistaprint. Let's have a look. Vistaprint. Oh no, but wait. Vistaprint means I'll need to have the merch, and then that means I've got to manually send it out as well. All products. What have we got? Oh, damn. Backpacks, knitted hats. There we go. Sol's Bronx. They look awful. My God. I don't know much about beanies, but I don't think I would wear one of those. Caps. Hello. These look bad. Oh my goodness. You'd rather get sunburned than have some of these. There's no snapbacks. You'd want a snapback or something, wouldn't you? Baseball caps, trucker caps. What the hell? Visors, bags, office, drinkware. That's what. Now we're talking. Drinkware, mugs. Oh, here we go. Personalised mugs. Your logo, full colour wrap print. My logo's not that big, I'll be honest. Oh, that's a nice dark one. That looks nice. Coffee cups. What about those enamel mugs? You know, like the camping ones. Here we go. Oh, hello. That one has got the best rating. Then none of them are rated particularly well, I'll be honest. Quantity 1. How much is that? Oh, minimum 10. Christ. Start designing. £5.56. Yeah, £5.69 each for 10. 100 mugs. Now they're only £3.96. Oh, now we're talking. How much can I sell a mug for? Tenner? That seems a bit pricey for a mug. Fucking hell. £10. How am I going to make any money out of that? This is what I'm saying. I've just bought a mug from one of the streamers I follow on YouTube, and it's cost me about 14 quid for a mug. I'm only doing it to support him. I mean, I'm sure most of you would do it just to support me, but it feels a bit steep, and I've got to ship that myself. £10 for a couple of quid. God damn. Right, where did I get to? I've got no iPhone 14 Pro. I know, I was talking to my sisters, right? One of them's 3 years older, younger, and one's 8 years old, younger. And I was like, what phones you got, girls? And one of them's got like a 13 Pro Max, and they were like, once you get a massive screen, you never look back. And I just couldn't bear the thought of spending about £1,100 or £1,200 on the Pro Max, the 14. And the 15's about to be announced, isn't it? It'll be out in September, so I just couldn't do it. So I've got the 12. Like I'm upgrading from an SE from 2020, so the 12 is going to be like, holy shit, this is mind blowing, right? And I've just discovered Toby. He's probably not still here. Tech Toby has put me in the direction of an app where I can use my phone for the camera for my live stream. So I'm currently on like a £40 webcam. It probably looks like it as well, especially if you're on YouTube. So yeah, he's shown me an app so that I'm going to use the back camera of my new phone as of tomorrow to do my videos, and I can plug it in and use it as an input and stuff. So you might see a noticeable difference tomorrow. Right. What Mac did you get? Mac Mini or MacBook? M2 chips are smooth as butter quick. Ethereal. I got the Mac. Where is it? I got the iPhone 12 in black, and then I got the 2022 MacBook Air with M2 13.6 inch, so 8 gigs of RAM, 256 SSD. That's also got a 1080p FaceTime HD. I could probably stream better on that than I could this stupid webcam, but never mind. And I understand you can't even get TikTok Studio on it, so I would need to figure out how I stream on TikTok via OBS. I don't know if that's even a thing. I just use TikTok Studio. So yeah, that's all coming tomorrow. I can't wait. There'll be very little work being done when it arrives tomorrow, I would imagine. There'll be lots of like moving of the mouse to stay alive on MS Teams. A man on a good wage with a normal phone and frugal lifestyle is a man with money in his pocket. Reese, I wish that were true, buddy. I wish that were true, right? I earn a lot of money, but I'll let you into a little secret. Up until June, 1st of June, I was in debt because I was very stupid in my my mid-30s, and I've just finished paying it off. So now I've got the money in my pocket. But You'd think I'd have loads, but I wouldn't. I'm only just starting to accumulate money now because I had a lot of debt to pay. I think a boot camp would be cool. Yeah, I do too, Ghost. I just think I've looked at rough number. Like some people charge like thousands for these things, and I wouldn't go that high. But it would have to be somewhere between like $599 and $999, and I couldn't even guarantee a job at the end of it. And I just think it's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? Like, because there'd be so much work involved on my part. Yeah, I just don't know. I don't know if I want to be selling something for $1,000, like, because it feels like I'm then selling a dream. If you spend $1,000, you're expecting certain things, and if I can't even guarantee you a job at the end of it, then I don't know. I don't know how that sits with me, to be honest. So I need to give it some thought. I would love to run some sort of boot camp. It might be that there's just a lighter touch boot camp where it is like a mixture of the accountability group plus the courses, and it's just like a few £100, and actually just everyone's starting in the same place, and it's a slightly bigger group, and like there's 2 calls a week or something, rather than a full-on hardcore. But yeah, I don't know. I haven't given it loads of thought. Obviously, I've got to finish the course first. I couldn't do anything like that without finishing it. Maybe even meet up in a nice venue to collect all the merchandise. T-Dog, I would love to do a meetup. I've spoken about that in the Discord, actually. We're almost at 500 people in the Discord. In fact, it's I wouldn't be surprised, given how busy those TikToks have been today, if I've hit 500. No, 485. We're going to hit 500 this week. Yeah, but I have mentioned before, like, there's 500 people, and we're like, most of them are in the UK. Like 98% of my TikTok audience is UK, I think. Yeah, finding a venue and like just hiring something, and just like getting teas and coffees and stuff, and like I don't know, just having a chat. Like, I wouldn't mind putting on like a DevOps con thing, just like a really small scale one, right, with just like a few hundred people. Get a few guest speakers. I've spoken about doing stuff like that. I went to Comic-Con with my kids not long ago, and like just putting on something on a really small scale for like wannabe DevOps engineers, or even experienced DevOps engineers, would be pretty cool. But yeah, we'll see. Where did I go? Do you know? Can I have your Ahmed? Can I have your Instagram or your LinkedIn? DM me, buddy, and you can have my LinkedIn. That's fine. Or come into my Discord. I think I've shared it in there before. I don't have Instagram though. Do you? What? Yeah, you can also DM me on here. You've got my TikTok. What more do you need? Do you know of any places that are good at teaching OPSEC? No, I don't, buddy. Unfortunately, security stuff I don't know loads about. There's a couple of security guys in my Discord though. They might be able to help. Exciting stuff. Yeah, the MacBook Air M2 is lovely. I got the Pro M1 16-inch, very nice. Wendy Onions, what's your comp specs, Mark? It is. I bought it second hand. I just upgraded the RAM. So what have I got? It's just an i5 8600K, so that's like 8th gen, so it's old now. I think they've just released the 13th or 14th, haven't they? 32 gigs of RAM, and I've upgraded it to it came with a 1660 Super, I think, GPU. Upgraded it to the 3070 Ti. I don't even game anymore. Like, I played some Age of Empires for the first time in my life a couple of weeks ago, and I used to play COD with my mates all the time, but I just don't anymore. I don't have time. Like courses online. Udemy is the best place. That's just come up as notification. Is that really your name? That's weird. Courses online. Try Udemy for anything like that. Yeah, debt is crap. It is, mate. It is. I would never get into, like, I've got a car that I paid cash for. Like, I just don't want debt for anything really. T-Dog, what about monthly payments? Monthly payments. What for the boot camp? Yeah, you could do monthly payments. The problem with that is if the boot camp's only going to last 3 months, you can spread it. Like, you can already buy my stuff monthly because I've got PayPal paying 3 on my website. So yeah, like a couple of people have actually bought the accountability course and just spread it over 3 months, £22 a month, which is pretty cool. So yeah, you could split the thing, but I guess it's still going to be a fair chunk, and I wouldn't want to spread it any longer than the boot camp because I've run into an issue there where people stop paying, and like I'm out of contact with them and they're no longer getting the services, and I don't really want to have to like chase money and stuff. But yeah, you could do it over 3 months, I suppose, and if they stop paying at any point, then they just lose access to the stuff, I guess. It's not a bad idea. Boot camp where everyone stays at yours. Yeah, imagine, Wendy. Get all the camp beds out. You can all camp in the garden or something. You said in Linktree, does it really take 1,000 hours to become a DevOps beginner? No. Did I say that? In one of my videos, I said I must have spent the best part of 1,000 hours doing courses, reading books, and practicing. But I really like obsessed over the tech and learning stuff because like I bought little servers and stuff to play around with at home. I think 1,000 hours gets you to a ridiculously good level, but my course is going to teach you to the baseline enough to do your own projects in around 120 hours, maybe more if you're a slower learner, like, but within 100 to 200 hours, I guess, max. Like once you've done all of the course is going to be a 12-week. It's going to spread. It suggests that you do it over 12 weeks, 10 hours a week. And then a massive challenge at the end is like a 4-week thing where you build a big project. And that project will factor in, it will use everything. It will use cloud, it will use Python, it will use Docker, it will use CI/CD. And that is the stuff that you'll put on your CV for going for jobs, and that might take you another 40 hours. So that's 160 hours. So then you're getting to a level where you know some of this stuff off the top of your head. You don't know it all, but you could talk about it confidently at an interview. And then I Google stuff every day still at work. Like, you're not expected to remember all this stuff. So yes, the 1,000 hours is how long it took me, but I spent probably 100, maybe 150 of those learning web design and stuff, which you just don't need to do. Do you know any places that are good at teaching learning OPSEC? No, I still don't. I did say go to Udemy if you weren't around. T-Dog, DevCon, yeah, like DevOpsCon, that sort of stuff. Wendy, how come you chose DevOps in the first place? Totally by accident, buddy. I loved Python. I found Python interesting, and it seemed to, when I was looking for like easy languages to learn, Python came up all the time. And then kind of forgot about it a bit, and then thought I want to go down the web design route. I knew I wanted to be in tech. Being a web designer felt like it was an easy route to go down. Got into that a little bit. Found WordPress. Learned how to use WordPress and like build sites on there. Started trying to get clients and stuff, but then really wanted to host my own rather than, I was hearing bad things about shared hosting, and wanted to run my own servers essentially. So I had to teach myself that, which is one of the courses that I suggest, is like learning how to host, like self-host WordPress. And so I did that, and then from there I like looked into what it was I was doing. It was called system administration. Looked into those roles, found out that was kind of dying a bit, and DevOps was like this up and coming thing. And so that combined like Python that I originally liked with the server stuff that I now liked, and then it was like a bit of a match made in heaven type thing. And then I applied for a junior Python role and a DevOps role at the same company. Failed the Python exam or thing. I just couldn't solve two of the problems, and they offered me the DevOps one. So that's how I got there. Will you close the course when you hit 12 people? Anum exo. So the accountability group isn't a course. It is what it says it is, an accountability group. But the new one that is due to start in September, because the first cohort is closed. That sold out this morning or yesterday. That starts next week on Wednesday. The new one is set to start first week in September, and that will close early and start early if all of the seats fill out, if they sell out. Like this last one took like 12 days to sell out, so if the same thing happens again, I've got everyone's emails that will have ordered, and I will reach out to them and say, would you like to start on this day, and just get everyone to vote. And if they do, we'll start early. Yeah. Does the money ever feel like enough? Wendy, do you know what? It doesn't, and that is an issue. I listened to, I don't know if you've heard of the Diary of the CEO podcast, and I listened to an episode today, and it was interviewing Rita Ora, and she said something that really struck a chord in me, and that was about you just keep going and you keep wanting more. If a failure of like I came from nothing, right? I had no money, council estate, all of that stuff. We were poor, and it's never been enough. Despite me earning more money than anyone ever in my family or anyone I even know, I still am not. I still don't feel like I'll just do this for the rest of my life now and that's done. There's always something else. I want to be doing something else. I want to earn more. For no real reason now. And that it's like there's like a fear of having nothing again, and rather than just stopping to enjoy it or getting a certain like amount of savings and stuff like that. Yeah, it's bizarre. It's just never enough. I was in competition with my sisters for a long time about how much we earn and stuff, and like my sisters are now mothers, and I say to them like that it doesn't stop. Like, so if you're chasing something, an end point where you think, oh my god, I'm just going to sit back and be like, I've made it, it just doesn't happen. I guess unless you're rich, then yeah, it just doesn't. No, unfortunately not. It just doesn't. It seems silly the amount of money I earn now that it's not. It doesn't feel like it's enough. I'm not just content. It's just like I still want to progress. Like I'm doing this stuff on this channel now, and I'm selling courses and stuff, and it's just like I just want to be doing something else, and it's not like a greed thing. It's just like that's just the way I'm programmed, unfortunately. I thought I would with my job, but now it seems like nothing. Yeah, it's a weird thing. Like I don't know. Like I have no right to like not be happy with. Oh, it's not that I'm unhappy with what I'm on. Obviously, I'm extremely fortunate to be in the position I'm in, but there's no end goal, right? If you just stop striving to go forward, then at what point? Like, there's no point, is there? Right? You've got to work towards something. Otherwise, life gets extremely dull. Right. I have been going for God, where's that? 1 hour 43 minutes. So I'm going to call it there. Thank you, everyone. Thank you for stopping by. Thank you if you liked. Thank you if you followed. Appreciate the gifts for those of you that sent them. Final call for my website. If you are interested in my course, there is an ebook and a video course on pre-order at the moment. The pre-order for the book is only £9. For the first 100 copies, there's still plenty for sale. 50 or so left. Video is currently, it started at £49. The first 10 sold out, so that's now at £69, and that will just keep going up in 20s until it hits £149. Yeah, I've got an accountability group that starts on Wednesday that is fully sold out, but if you are someone that struggles to commit to their learning all the time and you want a group of people to G you up and you can talk to in a private environment where there's only 12 of you and you get access to me on a private stream where you can just ask questions and we can get on it doesn't even have to be a stream, it can just be a video call where we're all chatting and stuff. Then the second cohort for that, the tickets for that, now all the seats are on sale. That will start around the 6th of September. The course will be on a Wednesday night at 9 o'clock. And if it sells out as quickly as the first one, then we will potentially bring it forward, but I will reach out to everyone. So thanks, everyone. I don't think there's any outstanding questions. I appreciate you stopping by. Until next time. See you later.